I used to be an ICU nurse before I did all of this.
The whole system is designed in such a way that they are helping you to buy more properties.
I built enough of a net worth to essentially quit that. You're gonna be like filthy rich in 5 years.
I plan to buy one property every year.
Everybody's absolutely terrified, but like the fundamentals are just insane. Like it's below 2008 levels for sales. Worst case scenario, this thing burns to the ground and I still have land.
The first time I bought a property, I had no money.
You have a tenant that's paying your mortgage for you.
I run a virtual assistant company and we have a lot of realtors who are my clients.
My VAs are working right now, like 62 of them, 16 hours, like off of my plate. And I used to do all of this stuff myself. There's no way I could have a team without them.
A lawyer who's charging north of $250 per hour, it's not worth his time to follow up, send emails, do documentation.
It's like a must in this market right now. You get a taste of freedom.
I'd rather work for myself. You cannot do business without creating content.
Let's do it.
Hi, today we are with Milena Simsic. She is my realtor from Windsor. I have bought a couple of properties through her. I met her through social media. I met her through her videos on YouTube and Instagram, and that's how I contacted her and started working with her. My experience has been great working with you, and that's the reason I wanted to talk to you about your journey, perhaps my journey with you buying real estate. So why don't you give us a little brief about how you started off with real estate?
Absolutely. Yeah, thank you for having me here, Abhishek. It's been a pleasure working with you as well. You've been a wonderful buyer, so I'm very happy to hear about your experience. So my name is Milena Simsic. I was born and raised in Windsor, Ontario. Right now, I run the Windsor Real Estate Insider magazine, Win Social Realty, and Windsor REI Social, which is the largest real estate investor networking event in Windsor. So magazine, realtor team, and real estate investor events. I used to be an ICU nurse before I did all of this, and I bought investment properties while I was working as an ICU nurse through COVID, and I built enough of a net worth to essentially quit that, and I just started all of this out of a passion for real estate and improving the industry here, and I'm glad that it's led me to this point where one of my clients now had such a good experience that we're on a podcast together. So yeah, that's a bit about me, but we've known each other for I think through my entire journey on Instagram, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, you have quite a journey yourself too. I'd love to hear more about that.
Absolutely. So I got introduced to real estate, of course, by reading a lot of books and looking at a lot of podcasts, something that you created all the time. My first property that I bought here was in Toronto, which I was living in for the longest time. And I realized that it's not that difficult to buy properties here. It is. It may seem a little difficult when in the start, but as you start buying your first property and you start raising money, you realize that the whole system is designed in such a way that they are helping you to buy more properties.
Yes.
Now the reason that I reached out to you was because when I bought my first property in Toronto, I had a job and I was working as an accountant, and eventually I started my own business. So I had more cash flow in hand, even though it was not profits, but I saw more money lying in my bank.
Yes.
And I realized that I could use that to buy something, perhaps real estate or stocks or investments. And when I came out to the market, I said, okay, I want to buy my next property, and I contacted my mortgage broker in Toronto. Of course, we're working with right?
Yeah.
So I contacted him, and then I realized that you need to put 20% down payment now. It's not as easy as it is to buy your first property, right?
Right.
In the first property, you just have to put 5% down because it's your first property, you're going to live in that property. But when you buy an investment property, you have to put 20%. Now, when it comes to 20% down payment in Toronto, that's north of $150,000 to $200,000. So it's not as easy anymore.
That's like a whole house price in Windsor.
Yes. So then we realized that we need to move to a city where we can find properties which can give us positive cash flow.
Yeah.
Again, Toronto doesn't give you positive cash flow anymore. At least most areas don't. So we realized that we need positive cash flow. When we talk about positive cash flow, of course, you know that the mortgage whatever I'm paying for the mortgage monthly, I need to get more than that, or at least break even at that with my rent.
Exactly.
So that is something it's almost impossible in Toronto.
Yeah.
So we were looking at cities like Winnipeg, we looked at cities Windsor, and then because Windsor was close by and we could just drive down, and we started making trips.
Amazing.
And then I had a realtor back then. He used to call me every time there was some showings. He used to call me. We used to see like 5. We used to shortlist 5 properties. By the time we reached there, we could only see 2 or 3.
Yeah.
And then we were not liking anything. We got rejected in 1 or 2 properties because we bid too late.
Right.
And that time it was a seller's market,
Yeah,
I would say.
2022, right?
Yes,
Yeah.
yes.
Oh God, it was crazy though.
So then I just happened to see your video. I was researching about Windsor, and that's when I saw your videos. And then in some way you said that if you want to buy a property, you can reach out to me. And I was like, you know what, let me do that.
Amazing.
And then your number or your email was there. We started talking, and that's when you got me my first property.
Amazing. Yeah, I remember that. I did a couple walkthroughs through that one, and yeah, we got a great price on that, and you were cash flowing incredibly well on it. And now we're working on a second one right now.
Yeah.
So
Or
that's
closed, I
just,
think. It's
yeah,
almost closed, right?
It's almost closed, yeah,
Yeah.
basically. So that one I think is going to be, it's cheaper than the first one we got too, right? Like
Correct.
the market's fantastic in Windsor right now. Like 2022, we were 30% higher than where we are now, and now it's like for investors, it's the best time, like the best time to buy. Like the rents are still high, vacancy rates are under 4%, and we have so much coming into
Oh, yeah.
Windsor. Oh, you're gonna be like filthy rich in 5 years.
I plan to buy 1 property every month, every year.
Amazing.
That's what we discussed, right? We
Yeah.
try our best to do that. But I also want to look at multifamily. You've been telling me for multifamily for a while. I haven't, it comes to another level for me, which is like
Yeah.
outside my comfort zone for now.
I tried this time. Next year for sure, we're gonna get you
Okay.
into something bigger, like much bigger.
Okay.
Yeah, multifamily is definitely like a great thing to get into. So I mean, it's less risk if you really look at it, because you have more than one source of income, and it's
Yeah.
all under the same roof. So for my very first property was a 6-unit building.
Wow.
That I actually house hacked. So that was when you were saying like, that it was so much easier for you to buy your first property, especially when it's owner occupied. That is so true. Like you have such an opportunity to buy something when you're a first time home buyer. And in this market in Canada right now, it is the ideal market for first time home buyers.
Correct.
Because affordability is at an all-time high. Everybody's absolutely terrified, but like the fundamentals are just insane. Like it's below 2008 levels for sales. So like investors and first-time home buyers, they have to be coming out right now. Anyways, for the 6-unit, like I was able to get that with 15% down, owner occupied CMHC
Wow.
loan. Yeah, 15.
Owner occupied for 6 units?
Yes.
So
I
what,
don't
he
know.
had
That
like
was
family members living?
that was it was about 4 or 5 years ago when I did this. So CMHC has changed a lot of rules, but there's still like a lot of good benefits with CMHC if you're buying under 20% owner occupied. I think right now I believe like if you go up to duplex, you can put as little as 5% down for owner occupied. Up to a 4-plex, you have to do up to 10% down.
Okay.
I'm not quite sure what the rules are for 4 to 6 right now, but I did that at the time, and I'm like, this is literally cheaper than buying a house, and I get to make like a $2,000-3,000 profit while living in here as is. And
Wow.
I got it up even higher than that after improving everything. It's just crazy. Like what
That's
you could do.
impossible in Toronto.
Literally, yeah, right? It's impossible. So yeah, next year we're getting you like a big one.
Also, I think you rightly said that it is at its lowest right now, and I've heard a lot of entrepreneurs and a lot of investors, people like Warren Buffett, also said that buy when there are blood on the streets.
Yes,
Right?
that's it. Yeah.
I think that's
Yeah.
what is the right approach. People get too
Yes.
scared to buy because they feel it's gonna go lower. It's okay if it does, but
Yeah.
eventually in a couple years it will always go up. Like
Yeah.
real estate has been the only investment strategy that has always gone up. You cannot even bet on the best company right now in the world,
Exactly.
because that will also may not stay forever.
Yes.
But real estate will.
Yeah, and when I got my first building, I was like so terrified, and I told myself, even if this like worst case scenario, this thing burns to the ground, and I still have land. Like I
Exactly,
still have land.
yes,
I could sit on my land and like sell it for at least a couple $100,000.
Absolutely.
And of course, have insurance and everything. So, but worst case scenario.
Actually, land is the piece that is the most expensive part, and which is what we should be banking on rather than the house. The house can be 100 years old, but if you have land can be as old. I mean, it's there forever.
It's there forever, yeah. As long as the earth is here, we're gonna have Earth is here, like Kanye West style. How much? Did you see that meme? How much does it cost to buy the Earth by Kanye West? Never mind. That's just. You haven't either. Never mind. But anyways, the Earth will always be there.
Absolutely, yeah. And until the Earth is there, insurance companies are there. So if something happens to the house, insurance companies are there to pay us.
Right.
So I mean, there's a lot of thought process around that. It's so risky in this market to buy. And I always tell my friends, I always tell all my colleagues that you gotta start investing and forget about it.
Yeah.
Like I don't think I made any money in real estate till now. I mean, with respect to appreciation. Right. I have 6 properties now. I have 1 in Toronto, 2 in Windsor, and 3 in India. All of the properties are maybe at where I bought them, or maybe a little 10%, 15% higher.
Yeah.
But that's also because I bought all of them in the last 5 years.
Yeah.
5-6 years.
Exactly.
So and it takes it at least take a decade to make real money in real estate. Right?
Yes, absolutely. I tell people it's a long-term game. Like if you're looking at doing flips and all of that, you're turning it into a business at that point, and you're taking more risk, which is fine, and you get higher returns. But if you want the passive income real estate where you want to just slowly build wealth, it's going to be a slow process. There's no such thing as like get rich quick unless you have like generational wealth or whatever, right? Like you have to, money has to come from somewhere, and normally it's just time and then sitting on it, taking care of your properties properly and waiting. And putting any residual income you have into investments like that. Like
it was going to be spent anyway.
Yeah,
so might as well
exactly.
Spend it in
I will spend it if it's not in there. So.
Yeah. I know how I do my investments. I spend on investments before I even get it in my hand.
Good.
So that way I only live off what is left after I put in investment, which is more than 50% of my income.
Right. Awesome.
So that's how I managed to have these properties so far. And I think you said that flipping is maybe not the best for especially people who don't understand the market well.
Yeah.
That's how I think we got a very good deal on the last property we bought, right? I think it's 15% lower. He's selling it for the property owner.
Yeah.
He bought it for he's selling in a loss, right?
Yeah, no, really.
Yes.
Yeah, he's losing about $70,000 on that property after realtor fees. Like literally just 5 months ago, it was funny. I told you my dentist, I was at the dentist, so I was texting you. He was doing my filling and talking about a property that he offered on 5 months ago, and it turned out it was the same property we offered on that day. And I said, literally as he was doing it, I'm like, is it that one? And he's like, stop talking. I'm like, you started it. So he offered $50,000 over what we did, and the seller refused it 5 months ago. $50,000 over what we did, and then we came in at the lowest price point they've ever seen, and we got it. Yeah. And we got it. So.
But I think sometimes, obviously, I don't know his strategy. Maybe he's flipping because he recently bought the property and he's selling it at a loss.
Yeah.
But I think they're also looking for serious buyers. Sometimes buyers, they don't have an approval in hand, or they don't have the income. Sometimes they put an offer and then it just falls through the crack.
Yeah.
So if they have a serious buyer or investor, I think they kind of show more seriousness.
Oh yeah,
we didn't bargain at all. We didn't bid at all.
No.
We just stick to a price.
I sold you really hard. I'm like, you know what, my investor, he's gonna close on this. I have all, when I have a reputation in my market. If I offer on something, I'm gonna have all my ducks in a row. The inspector's already called before this is even accepted. We're already working with your financing, and I explain all of this to the listing agent, so we have a better chance of getting a lower price. Because the more confident they are in me and my buyer, the lower they're willing to go on the price and then work on conditions. We were even able to get some renovations with that recent problem that's happened. It's we'll fix that, no worries. It's as long as they know you're confident in closing, they'll do anything. Yeah.
That's true.
So,
that's true.
Yeah.
Speaking of, working with a good real estate agent and you selling me, I realized that everybody I spoke to over the years about me working with you, like Milena Simsic, oh yeah, she's one of the best realtors in Windsor. If you came through her, okay, we can do this for you. So I got more qualified because I was working with you.
Oh, good. I'm
Yeah,
glad.
so I have one of the best property management companies in Windsor, and they are great. They've been great. They've taken care. I've recommended them to a couple of my friends who also invested in Windsor, and
Amazing.
they were very happy. They lost like $15,000-$20,000 because of the tenant not paying.
Wow.
That eventually they were only able to get them out through the property management company.
Yeah.
And I always suggest you need to have one.
Amazing.
Never try to do property management yourself.
Yes, I agree,
Right?
100%. Yeah, especially if you're from out of town, unless like you have specific systems for that market, it's incredibly difficult to manage a property from
Yes.
out of town. It's possible, but you better have somebody there that has all the connections. So like, you know, when you came through us, we recommended that property manager to you. Even if, you know, if you're not working with the right realtor that has experience in investment properties in that particular market, they could recommend, I was just speaking about this to you, I'm not going to mention their name, but a really bad property management company, right?
Yes,
And then they could destroy everything. Or a really bad contractor. I had one client who worked with a Toronto realtor buying something in Windsor. They bought a fourplex.
Okay.
They got recommended a contractor to fix this place up. So this fourplex could not be occupied. And this Toronto realtor didn't know that. So they bought this fourplex that they couldn't rent out. They had to go through the city to do all these renos. They got a contractor that charged them $150,000
In
to
Windsor?
get in Windsor.
Half the price of the house.
And they did, and guess what? The contractor didn't even do anything. They literally gave all this money thinking like the work was being done properly. It wasn't. So they finally came to me and they're like, help us get rid of this. Like, help us get rid of this property. And I set them up with a contractor that got everything done for them for $50K with the city, everything. They were able to occupy the property. We got all the units rented out with a good property manager, and we were able to sell that for them. They didn't make a profit, but they didn't go bankrupt, right? So they were able to get rid of that property with like a nice renovated fourplex with good tenants in there now, instead of like literally having to give it up to the bank because they couldn't occupy it.
I have heard a lot of horror stories, and you know, I'm sure people, when they think about investing, they look at the negatives first.
Right.
I get it. It's scary sometimes, especially when you're starting. But I have realized through the years working with you and working with one of the best mortgage agents, one of the best lawyers, I realized that you need to have people that you trust that can give you the right advice at the right time, and then you know everything is good from there as long as you trust their advice and you let them handle things that they are best at.
Yes.
You know, that's what I do in my business as well. I think we spoke about that, right?
Yeah.
So I run a virtual assistant company.
Yes.
And we have a lot of realtors who are my clients, and everybody, every small, medium business owner out there who's trying to do everything themselves, I recommend the same thing.
Yeah.
That you can't be doing everything yourself. If you're trying to do everything yourself, then you're anyway not best at everything.
Yes.
And a lot of things are not worth your time. Like for example, if you're a doctor, it's not worth your time to schedule appointments.
Yes.
If you're a lawyer who's charging north of $250 per hour, it's not worth his time to follow up, send emails, do documentation, do research. I mean, of course, a little critical thinking is important, but a lot of stuff can be done by assistants, right?
Yeah, and they should.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. They
You
should.
have assistants.
I do. I got 2 VAs. I have one that's an operations manager that's been with me for 3 years. Like it's
Okay.
insane what they can do now if you train them properly and you have nice systems set up for them. The one that's been with me for a while, she knows the business so well that she actually helps me create systems within them now. So yeah, 100%. Like VAs are like, I love the business that you're running with your VAs, and you said you were more focused on the marketing aspect of it, right?
Correct.
That is like so important for any business right
Yeah.
now. Like everyone, you know, I just came back from a conference with a lot of realtors, and one realtor mentioned that they have a big Instagram following, but they get absolutely no leads from it. And I'm thinking, like, literally, I've built my business off of Instagram and TikTok, and this is how we met.
That's how we met.
Yeah, how we met. Literally, I get all of my leads from it. I'm like,
Oh,
if you're
really?
not-
Okay.
all of it.
But
Like,
I was the OG, I think you told me last
yeah,
time.
you were one of my first, like one of my
Okay.
first. Yeah, so it's yeah, literally like most of my business comes from social media. So if you want to, you know, do that, like to hire a marketing manager, and correct me because I know you know, but like it's like 30-50 an hour here or something, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah, and then
Minimum $25-$30 per hour.
Oh, for sure. And for like a VA, it's under 10 an hour?
$5 to $9 per
Yeah,
hour.
if they're doing everything like online, the quality is really good too. It's, yeah. As long as-
I know clients who 80% of their staff is VAs. I know a few clients, and you'll be surprised, they have a business where they used to be working themselves in it, and now they are just traveling, living in Mexico, living in South America, and all of their business is taken care by VAs, and they are working like 3-4 hours a day, but most of it is done by VAs.
Yes.
They're only taking calls, maybe taking meetings,
Yeah.
and that's how you're supposed to be growing your business. I'm not saying that you need to really not work. I mean, you need to work, you need to do a lot of critical thinking, you need to learn, read.
Yes.
But your time is best spent in, networking and learning rather than doing everything yourself.
At every single level of business, there's like things you have to give up. Your hourly rate goes like higher and higher. Like the ultimate one is like visionary, right? Like your CEO. So you're the one that's basically guiding direction, and then you have an ops manager underneath you that handles all of that, and then VAs all over the place there. This is how a lot of big realtor teams run.
Most brokerages have VAs, right?
Literally, it's like a must in this market right now. Like for me, my VAs are working right now, like 62 of them, 16 hours, like off of my plate. And I used to do all of this stuff myself. It's like, there's no way I could have a team without them, right?
Can you ever go back to working for somebody else?
No. God,
I don't think
God,
so.
no. I could not.
I cannot. Right?
Yeah, it's like you get a taste of freedom, and it's like, I would rather die. Like, I would rather die.
I'd make a little less money, but I'd rather work for myself and the freedom of living and working from anywhere. I mean, for you have to be in Windsor, but even then, like the fact that, you choose your time and you choose when you're going to work.
Yeah, I get to go to, I'm in Toronto right now, like I'm in the big city, and I didn't used to do that as a nurse. Like I couldn't do that. I was stuck in, Windsor working all the time. Like I have to physically be there. For my business right now, I'm still like active in production, so I have to be there for walkthroughs and everything. But even as a realtor, you can eventually replace that by hiring like another licensed realtor to manage that for you, and VAs.
And you have a couple, right?
I do.
Working with you,
yeah, I have 4 under me right now.
Tell us more about your company and the Win Social and the Meet networking events.
For sure. So I run Win Social Realty, which is my realtor team. I personally specialize in commercial properties and larger investment properties. And then my team members, they handle smaller investment properties, some luxury homes and all of that. So we have like a little bit of everything on the team. And then I have a couple of VAs that are running like the back end of everything. So I have certain marketing systems that I run, like the magazine, which gives,
I look at it all the time. I compare my numbers all the time. How much is my property worth right now? It's all based on the magazine.
Amazing.
I got a very good idea of the areas in Windsor also through your magazine, where you've written the A class, the B class, and you've created the whole map. I referred to it when I bought my first property.
Amazing.
Even today.
Amazing. That's exactly what I want, because I literally, like, it started off as a guide initially because my clients from Toronto and Vancouver, they were asking for it. They're like, we don't know anything about Windsor. And I'm like, I don't blame you. Like, it's completely different from Toronto, right? So I built this like 30-page guide. I'm like, okay, here's all the neighborhoods. These are the A to D class. These are the average prices, how much things go over and under asking in bid wars. And I created a system for how to gather this data that my VAs now run. So they distribute the magazine for me, and I do the summary at the end of the month. The third page that you see. That's like my little spiel.
I get your email.
Okay, perfect.
It may not seem like it, but I read it, and a lot of people, I'm sure, read it also. So it is definitely a guide. It is, and sometimes you just send me properties right off the bat. Even if I don't respond, I realize that those properties give me a good guide of where the Windsor market is right now, whether I should think about my next property or not. So everything helps. Even if you don't see people reacting, it's probably because they're in their subconscious, they are actually getting that information.
They're thinking about me and my information all the time. That's the goal, right? That's why I do the stories and everything. Like it's surprising with social media. I'm sure you experience this too. Like you post something on a story or on your Instagram, and then you meet up with friends, or like for me, it'd be strangers, and they know about my business and my dogs. I just posted a photo of the dog.
I saw that. Yeah, that was so cute. That was the first time you put something with your family.
I did. My husband, you just met him, right?
Yes.
And he's a very private person. He's very shy. He didn't want to be on social media, and I respected that. And now he's getting a lot more involved with. He's like my tour manager now. He comes with me when I go to conferences and podcasts and all that. So he's more comfortable being out in the public now. So yeah, I talked to him. I'm like, can I post this photo? He's like, yeah, sure. Now shocked. I'm like, okay, yeah, I'm gonna do it. So, but
That's
thank
cool.
you.
That's cool. Because until we met, I never knew that you were married.
Yeah, I know, because
a lot of people, I'm sure. A lot of people.
On my Facebook page, they know
Yeah.
because he's, my wedding photos there. But
Okay.
Instagram, I barely post that. It's mostly like just real estate content. But I recently found out like people want to know about the person behind the real estate.
That's so true.
So I really started doing like more. I'm not quite like there yet with the super personal content. I've always been like a very, I guess, guarded person, but I'm putting myself more out there, like my story and my family and my dogs, and it's made me like really connect more with my clients and partners and everything, because people want to work with people. They don't want to work with just data, which a lot of people do appreciate the data, but it's nice to have both sides of it.
No, I agree with you. And over the years, as we start working with somebody, we realize that we want to know them more.
Yeah.
Like when we met for the first time also. I think the first time we started working, we never met actually. I was working with an associate of yours.
Yes, you were, yeah.
And the second time we met, and then I realized that I don't know so much about you. And I swear by your name everywhere that I work with Melina. And I was like, there was so much more I need to know about her.
I knew about you. Like I follow every single client file, like every single one. So I went through the property walkthroughs for your property. Like I had my associate take care of the paperwork and finding everything. But yeah, no, I keep tabs on all my clients, and I'm happy to hear that you wanted to know more about me, because I was almost afraid it would be unprofessional. In nursing, like we have to in that environment, it was very, very strict patient nurse relationship. You could not get personal at all, and that's how the medical profession works, right? It's like you cannot develop friendships. There always has to be like that wall there.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah, and I kind of took that into the business the first 3 years, and I realized I don't have to do that here.
Yeah.
So it's been nice, like getting to know my clients.
How do you create these videos? I want to know. So of course you told me your VAs are the ones who are editing and taking care of all the marketing and stuff. But how do you remove enough time to do social media? I remember we were going to do a video walking through the property that we just bought.
Oh,
but
yeah. Next time you go down, you let me know. Yeah, we could even do the front of the house. But you know what? It's more like I just incorporate it into my life. It's a habit at this point. Because, when I post a story, like I asked you to take like some cinematic B-roll while we were talking. I'm like, okay, I'm going to post this on my story. It's just like, it's a habit. And I do have systems though where I come up with ideas. I tried hiring like a couple of social media managers to come up with ideas for me. It worked like okay, but it's very hard for somebody else to build your story for you, right? So
people connect to people.
Exactly. So whenever I come up with a video idea, I have something called Google Keep. So it's a notes app, and I've been using this for like 6 years. And I don't know if you know the book. It's called Getting Things Done. I forget the author name.
Okay, I think I've read that book.
Yeah, it's very, very important if you want to like organize your entire life. So it's called the GTD method, getting things done. And I made it into Google Keep, and it's basically like, long story short, I put video ideas into this app. It looks like sticky notes, and then I color coordinate it. So I'm like, if it's just an idea, it's white. If it's like a progression of an idea, it's yellow. And then when it's a ready video, it's green.
Right.
So whenever I need video ideas, I sit down for like a few hours on a Sunday or whenever I time block in the week for this, and I go through this Google Keep, which has hundreds of video ideas at this point.
Which you've been noting down all along.
Yeah, for 5 years now, and I just like pick out a few and get them all done in one sitting, and they're good to go.
That's so nice that you are actually going by what you want to create and what is in your mind and what you've been observing, because a lot of creators now only create videos based on the keywords that are trending.
Yes.
They don't care about what they see or what their expertise is in. They just create videos in what is trending. But sometimes, you are best at something and you need to stick to that.
Yeah.
What I've realized. And speaking of books, you said you read this book called Getting Things Done.
Yes. Yeah.
Have you read Rich Dad Poor Dad?
I did. It was like one of the first ones.
Me too,
Always
me
everybody's first book.
You know, that's my guide to buying properties. The first time I bought a property, I had no money. Not even the down payment, 5% down payment.
Wow.
I was barely like making enough to like sustain in Toronto, Canada. But then I realized that, I can somehow take money off line of credits. I can somehow take use my credit card to the fullest.
Wow.
And I had my business which I just started, so I had some source, so I just loaned money. I just took some advance money from my clients, and I used that for a down payment. And then immediately, as soon as the house was closed, I removed money from the credit card and I paid.
Oh my gosh,
Yeah.
that's amazing. That's like commitment, but it worked out like so well at the end because it's
Now
like,
I can be happy about it and
Yeah,
laugh
yeah.
about it, but back in the day I was terrified.
But it's just crazy that you did something so risky, and even like the market wasn't, we got a fantastic deal, but the market was like a little bit higher then than it is now, and you're still like above, like you're still above what.
No, I'm not talking about the Windsor one. I'm talking about the first property.
Oh,
which I
never
bought
mind.
in
Oh,
Toronto.
never mind then. Okay,
That was
well-
even riskier because I had no experience buying real estate.
Yeah,
back then.
and it's like you do this risky stuff and it ends up like working out. Like look at your net worth
Yeah.
now. Like it's literally like one of the, like you can do all of that, but at the end of the day, like you have a tenant that's paying your mortgage for you, and you're building equity while that mortgage is being
And I have
paid
no
down.
money, not even a single penny out of my pocket.
Yeah, exactly. So it's like it seems so risky, but if you were to do that like for a stock or something,
Oh,
it's
God.
like
Nah,
it's like
yeah.
you have nothing.
That's risky, that's risky.
Yeah,
You
I mean-
can't bet on one company or
Right.
maybe the whole market for that matter as much as you can bet on real estate.
Yes, exactly.
realized, yeah.
It's you have so much more control in this, and like you have the ability to leverage and buy things. I wouldn't recommend doing like the credit card thing and all that, but yeah.
Robert Kiyosaki, the
Yes,
book.
I know. I do remember that. I do remember him mentioning.
When I read the book and he was like, no matter where you can get the money from, you gotta invest and
Yeah.
buy properties, and then eventually wait for a couple of years. And I just followed the rule, and I bought my first property. And then the second one, I said, what, I gotta go to that book again. And then I read it again, and then I met you for Windsor property.
You're inspiring me now. I'm like maybe. I
There
should
was
jump
one
on.
more book, and I had written that down. I've been reading that book recently. It's a very, very, very good book. Let me just open my phone. It's called The Real Estate Retirement Plan by Calum Ross.
Oh,
it's a
wow.
Canadian writer, and it is all about Canadian real estate.
Interesting.
Yeah.
You're gonna have to send that one to
Absolutely.
me. Yeah.
And he has literally mentioned step by step of how you were supposed to use debt to buy real estate, and then wait. Not try to sell, don't try to flip, don't do anything of that sort. Just make sure that you keep it for a couple of years, maybe a couple of decades.
Right.
And you will realize that your net worth will like go off the roof
Yes.
after a couple of years, because you were sticking time in the market,
Yes,
basically, right?
absolutely.
Rather than timing the market.
Yeah, and I'm part of another investor group called Wealth Genius, and they teach this principle of like the golden egg. They always do 5 to 10 year timelines for these bigger multifamilies. So there's like a 5-year timeline where they obtain the multifamily, they turn over tenants, they do renos, and then in 5 years they pull out money through a refinance. And normally it's like a very large chunk of change, right?
BRRR method, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Buy-
Yes.
it's called buy,
Renovate, yeah.
refinance, rent. Something like that.
Rent refi. I can't. It's the BRRRR method.
BRRRR method, yeah.
I should know this.
Yeah, I'm doing it, and
yeah,
I don't
you're
remember
literally
it.
doing it. Well,
I'm
as
doing
long as
it.
you're doing it. But
That's what I'm doing, yeah.
but yeah, they talk about this, but for a much larger scale, and it's literally like mind blowing what they do. Like they live off. Like Robert Kiyosaki talks about this. They live off of this debt.
Yes.
And it's tax free. Like this
Yeah.
is how they pay 0 taxes.
Yeah.
And it goes up, like it just goes up indefinitely. Like there's so many ways you can build wealth through it. It's insane.
Yeah, and that's one of the only tangible investments that no matter if you don't understand a company, if you don't understand the market, but house is or land is something you can touch.
Yes.
It'll always be there, right?
Yeah.
So
Absolutely.
that is very important. We also spoke last time, and I remember you were saying that you are running some groups where you guys invest together. And I told you that I would only do it if you are part of that group.
Oh, you're so sweet. Thank you for remembering that. I said I was thinking about doing syndication at one point, not in the near future, maybe like a little bit further off, because I want to buy some larger multifamilies with my own funds.
That's
for
how
now.
these people buy buildings
I'm-
and condominium buildings and this building. Everything
Yeah.
is bought by like groups, right?
Yes, and everyone's trying to sell me on it. They're like, that I have a lot of people that do want to invest. You know what? You're convincing me now too. Where they want to invest money with me.
I'm going to do it if you're in it,
love
because
it.
I trust you. I don't trust anybody else in Windsor.
Thank you.
So far, we've worked together. I've built my portfolio just off of your expertise.
Thank
So
you.
I would rather want to invest it if you are in it or if you're organizing it. Again, it's risky when you are in a partnership and somebody wants to sell and you don't want to sell or something. How everybody's cash flow. So you need to find similar like-minded people.
Right. Yeah, you have to, if you're doing something like syndication, I'd imagine it's running a business. Like literally you have to be a leader, you have to know how to manage people, how to manage like even, different emotions and expectations of investors. I've held off on it just because I realize how much of a responsibility it is to have somebody else's money. So if I go into it, I need to make sure that I can get them their money back. I'm like, I would give up everything I have before I lose somebody else's money, right?
Yeah.
So there are a lot of people that go into like these bigger real estate deals with like absolutely no experience, and this has happened a lot in the 2022 market where they just over leverage and they end up losing everybody's money. And there were a couple of huge controversies in Windsor with a couple of people who did this, and in Ontario, and it's just like, it's just negligence. And I was watching these people buy these properties. I was fairly new to the market at the time, but I knew there was something wrong with it. I'm like, these numbers are not making sense. Like, where are they getting these funds? And they're promising 15 to 20% returns. But yeah, if I do end up going into that, I will definitely keep you first in mind. And
maybe a 6-unit building or a 20-unit building.
Oh, we'll
or
go to
something
20
like
if we do.
20.
We're gonna go 20
absolutely.
plus.
Yeah.
We're gonna do big time if we do that. Yeah, so.
That's true. No, when I see these buildings, when I walk through any neighborhood, I realize that of course this is not owned by one person.
Yeah.
It's a group of people who've come together and build this property.
Yes.
You could always, now that we are comfortable with buying real estate in Windsor or in Toronto, I realize that now I think it's time to go to the next level where you kind of start working with investors or these condominium owners and stuff, and they also want to sell a portion of their building. They don't want to sell the whole building, but they are happy to sell 20%. I recently heard one of my friends was saying that a lot of hotels are offering to give one whole floor to buy, or maybe you can buy a room or maybe buy a couple of rooms so that all the revenue of that room goes to you and only a small portion or the admin fee or whatever is taken by the hotel. So they maintain everything, they do the maintenance and everything. They also book the rooms for you. But then, I mean, this is just some thought. I have been talking to somebody who's actually bought a hotel, not a hotel. He's bought a room in one of the Toronto downtown hotels.
Wow.
Yes.
I didn't even know that was like
a thing.
Yeah. You guys do crazy
stuff. It's like buying Airbnb, but in a hotel.
I mean, that's smart. Yeah, it's like it's like almost buying a condo Airbnb here, pretty much.
Yeah. Wow. Tell me more about Windsor. I know we were talking just before we started. You were telling me what is coming up in Windsor and how is Windsor growing overall with real estate?
Okay, there's a lot going on. It's so we got basically $11 billion coming into the city. Okay. So the Gordie Howe Bridge hopefully open up this year.
Absolutely. It has to at some point. And it's not going to be there forever, right?
Yeah, if the Ambassador Bridge owner kind of backs off and stops talking to hopefully that'll work out. But anyways, they so that's like a huge thing that's going to happen. That's the largest suspension bridge in all of North America, not even Canada or US. It's like all of North America. And that's going to be a major trade route between the US and Canada. Like we're going to have our fights, right? But we always have to trade with each other. So that's like the main hub for that there. The second thing, mega hospital. So that's another multi-billion-dollar project that's going to rival London's. There's talks of a $300 million deal, I believe, going on in downtown Windsor. So
for
lots
the condominium building?
I don't know too many details or if that's like a for sure thing going through, but that's huge news going on in Windsor at the moment. Stellantis, the electric vehicle battery plant. So we have that. That's brought thousands of jobs to our economy. Our unemployment rate dropped drastically because of that. It's like so many things going on for one of the cheapest large cities in literally all of Canada. Like it's all of Canada, and on top of that, we're like the Florida of Canada. We're one of the warmest points, the most southern point.
I know. Last time you told me it's a little warmer in Windsor always than Toronto.
5 degrees warmer.
Oh my God, I didn't even realize that.
Yeah, you came down and you're like, oh my gosh, it's so warm here. I'm like, it's a 5-degree difference. Okay. It's nice. Like I think they're growing like canola plants now in Windsor because the temperature has increased so much. Global warming probably. probably, but yeah, we're nice. Like it's
And we
nice
have one
there.
of the best casinos there, right, in downtown.
Yeah, it's a huge casino. I don't go often myself, but yeah, it's like you know, we have a Caesar's Windsor there. We have a lot. Like we have a lot going on. There's definitely room for improvement, but if that downtown project, like downtown was one of Windsor's biggest weak points. Like you know, there's not really many cities with a poor downtown. Maybe Regina had a pretty bad downtown when I was there. It was like similar to that.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't know why.
How's Detroit though? I know a lot of
oh.
Windsor people in Windsor live off of income from Detroit.
Yeah, they do. So there's about 4,000 cross-border workers going back and forth every day. I was one of them when I was an ICU nurse. They're making like double the income over in Detroit.
Absolutely.
And then like coming back to Windsor and bringing that money here. That's exactly what I did. So 4,000, it's mostly, you could get a TN visa if you're a doctor, nurse, or engineer. So
Okay.
I've had like a couple of doctors come down from Toronto to live in Windsor, work in Detroit, make over double the income, and pay like a third of their costs for living for a bigger house.
Yeah.
They're basically like retired because they're working in Detroit and living in Windsor. They're like making bank there and living dirt cheap.
And
so.
Windsor is also known for the automobile industry.
Yes.
Right.
Yeah. So that's our weak point and our strength in this economy with like all the tariffs going on.
That's true. That's true.
But even with like the tariff situation, Windsor is still held incredibly steady throughout all of it. Like if we're doing pretty well while, you know, doing all of this stuff, I can only imagine once the fortune starts to favor us on that end, hopefully that tariff thing will, you know, go away or at least stabilize.
It will eventually, it has to, because we can't sustain, both countries cannot sustain so close to each other and not doing trade with each other.
No, exactly.
Also, I realized that Windsor hasn't changed in overall like house prices or something drastically to the point where other parts of Canada has.
Yes.
It has been stable.
Yes, very stable, like compared to the rest of Ontario. I talked to Ben Rabideau. He's like one of the biggest real estate analysts in Canada, and he said Windsor has been very stable compared to the rest of Ontario. So what happened, I've been running the data on it every month. We dropped drastically from February 2022 to December 2022. So we were like 700K then, and then we dropped to 490K. And I've been telling everybody 490 is going to be our lowest. And literally a few months later, we jumped back up to 550, and we've just been hanging out there for 3 years.
That's the figure I've been seeing in your newsletters.
Yeah, so I think everyone just got like super excited because of the interest rates, and then COVID happened, right? And everyone from Toronto was moving in because they had remote work.
Yeah.
And you know, the mass immigration and all of that. And now we've just like gotten to the point where we're supposed to be, and we're just staying there.
Yeah.
So until like all this other stuff starts to come in and open up, I think we're going to start to see an increase. I just did a video on this recently where we're like, the Canadian average is around 650, 670, around there.
Correct.
And we're sitting around 530 for this month. So we're like substantially below Canada's average. And for Toronto, we're literally half the price.
And we are so close to Toronto.
Yeah, 4 hours, 4 hours, and then 2 hours from London and 10 minutes from Detroit, which is coming up like really well. Like Detroit's downtown is like really expanding quickly. So
As Detroit expands and how the class of living in Detroit expands, I think Windsor takes like
feed off
goes
of it.
we feed off of it, right?
It's a beautiful city. Like I don't know.
I love the waterfront.
Oh yeah.
That's one of my favorite. I always go there, no matter how many times I have to go there. You know, there was a time I was going every week, but I still made a point to sit by the waterfront, enjoy the Detroit River.
Amazing.
Yeah, and I think my house is also, both the houses are very close to the bridge.
Yeah.
So
you can walk there, basically.
I can walk there,
Yeah.
yes. I can walk to the States.
Seriously, you
Yeah.
could? Oh, now
I
with
could.
the Gordie Howe Bridge,
Yes.
you can literally walk
to
over.
the States,
yeah.
right? Because I haven't been there. I should definitely do it.
Well, I was planning on, once Gordie Howe opens, I plan on riding my bike across that bridge.
Okay.
Yeah, let me know. We could do like a little group there.
Okay.
Hopefully they don't keep us there or something. I don't know what's going to happen.
I mean, I don't know about that. I drove once or twice to the States, and I go to Buffalo very often because I have some events there, like networking conference and all that. So initially when I used to go, I used to not get checked, but I think now I get a little more checked because of the rift happening between Canada and the States.
Yeah.
They check my car, they check everything. It's all cool, but it like only adds up time, right? Because they're checking everyone now, so you have to stand in the line.
I think there might be like some different. I never get checked.
Oh, you don't?
Like,
okay.
look.
Oh yeah. You don't,
they're a little crazy over there
you're
sometimes.
Right.
My dad, he's Serbian and he's got a bit of an accent and he's tan and they stop him all the time. So we like talk about this.
Tell me about it.
We talk there's something going on there.
Yeah.
We can't.
No matter how much they want to deny it, I mean, we always see it.
Yeah.
Bit, yes.
I know. There's definitely a difference. I've never had an issue crossing. I don't think I guess I don't look like very threatening, and then also I'm very white, so I'll say it. I don't know.
Okay, sure. You could. Yeah, you can.
It's true. Yeah.
That's so true.
Yeah, hopefully, they kind of calm down between the U.S. and Canada, and then everyone can get along soon, hopefully.
All right. Okay, so now that we are coming to an end towards our chat and towards our podcast, I just want to know how we can partner in future and how I can grow as an investor, how I can grow my real estate portfolio. I have grown to the point that I have 6 properties now under me, most of them rented out, but I want to know where I can get to the point where I have 10-fold or 100-fold, of what I am right now. And I know people are doing it. It's not impossible, right? There are so many investors out here who have like 1,000 properties, 1,000 apartment buildings, and they have like multifamilies, land.
Yes.
How do they get to this point from nothing? 80% of them have come from nothing.
Yeah.
I want to know your journey of how you got to like 8 or 10 properties right now, and then.
Yeah, for sure. So, I mean, for me, buying multiple properties, I literally did it while I was in nursing, and now I exclusively kind of help other people do this, and I've seen other people grow to like those 50-unit portfolios working solely through me, which is, so I guess from my experience here, while I was doing this as a nurse, like this was on a nursing income, it was about 80 to 100K a year because I was working in the States.
US?
Canadian.
Okay.
Canadian,
okay.
Yeah, after it was like 60K US, something like that. So what I did is I literally saved money from that job. I lived low. Like it's so simple. Like I just saved money from it. And I saved about 60K before I bought my first building with as little down as I could. And then once I got that building, I was working as a nurse and then using that money to renovate it. And once I renovated it, the value of it went up substantially. So what I could have done, and what I haven't done yet, is refinance that and pull out at this point I could pull out hundreds of thousands of dollars out of that building easily. But I bought the next one with cash that I saved, saved from my nursing career. So literally it was just cash that I saved every single year from my nursing job, and then buying properties like every year, like you're doing now, like literally from a job or from a business. But the smarter thing to do, and which is what I'm looking at doing right now, is refinancing all these properties and then buying a much larger building with that refinance. So that's the next step. So that's called the golden egg. Like once you reach that 5-year point and you have like all of these properties that have increased in value, normally you do forced appreciation. So that means renovations of some kind, or you buy in a market like Windsor where there's a lot going on, and then pull that money out and buy bigger buildings. I think for you that might be the next step. Or the alternative, which is what a lot of my clients do, is they get partners or they do syndication. So I have a client that's bought 2 8-unit buildings with me. We're on our second one right now.
Okay.
Yeah, and for them to get into the bigger buildings, they've partnered with a couple of other people to do that. So whether it's family members or friends or whatever, but that was for the first 8-plex. For the second one, she actually can refinance the initial one.
Yeah,
and then
that's how it goes. It's the same. It's the same circle, like BRRR.
Yeah, exactly. So it's either BRRRR, saving, or partnering.
Yeah.
So that's, I think partnership is probably the quickest way to grow from what I've seen in the market and my clients.
Makes sense.
Yeah.
How do you plan to grow your business from here? I know you are one of the, I think, the top real estate agents in Windsor, and I have heard your name not only from like my property management companies, but even the other people that I meet. Everybody knows you as a real estate agent. What is your plan of how do you want to like delegate your work to the point that now you become like a person who's actually recommending and guiding people to buy real estate, like people like me who want to come from Toronto. A lot of my friends ask me how you do it, and I said you have to meet the right people, go to Windsor, go to these events that you organize, and then but how do you plan to grow? How do you plan to go like 10 times or 100 times of where you are right now?
Yeah, so I was literally like at a conference the past couple of days, literally planning this out. And for me at this point, it's outsourcing all of like my work. I have a control issue. I've always had a control issue where I want to do everything, and I've really like learned a lot the past 3 years to let that go. So I have a couple of VAs right now. One of them is my ops manager. She's been with me for 3 years, and she's doing fantastic. She's building systems out for me, like alongside me. I think the next step would be to get somebody in person here, in Windsor to help me out with anything I need to do physically, and then, maybe get a team of VAs to do the back end and expand that team, and then grow the number of realtors that I have on the team, and have the VAs and my systems support those realtors.
So you can go out there and be like the one who guides everyone, and the one who's actually creating content, which is an important aspect of your business. Right?
I want to be the end goal is to be the visionary. I don't know if I'll ever get out of production. Like, I do love production. I love like help. This is like why I got into the industry, to help investors and people sell places where it's hard to find somebody that knows how to do marketing correctly. Like there's a lot of fantastic realtors in my market, but the majority, if they can't market themselves, how are they going to market your property? If they can't do that, like how could you?
That's true. That's so true. Yeah. That's what attracted me to start working with you, is because I saw that you were really marketing yourself and Windsor overall very well. Somebody who I can maybe I'm not saying that you there is nobody, but there could be somebody who knows more about Windsor, who's lived in Windsor for like 50 years, 60 years, but they are not out there talking about it. You can't find them. We can find you because you're talking about it, and that's why people want to work with you.
And the thing is, it takes a lot of courage, and you have to know what you're talking about before you get in front of a camera, because this is forever. Like it's like, if I say something wrong, it's going to be on the internet forever. So I personally have to hold myself to a higher standard and be accountable for what I say, because I'm online so much. What I used to do when I first started as a realtor is I would post Instagram stories of everything like I was learning and everything that I was doing every single day. It's like, I'm writing an offer now, I'm at a property tour here, I'm doing this. And if I ever missed any of those, I had people like that were following me that would comment and be like, hey, why didn't you do this today? I'm like, there are people watching.
I remember I told you, where is the red?
I remember. You hold me accountable, right? So like,
and I see that now. You want to talk, you want to tell, I'm
like, literally after you said that, I went to the nail salon the next day. I'm like, just in case I forget, I'm gonna have
you always have a tinge of red in you, right?
Exactly. And it's like people, it's to be in public is to like you're being exposed, right? It's like everything you are, like it's out there. So you better be working on yourself and be grounded and have some humility and make sure that you have your stuff together. You don't have to be perfect. Like, you don't have to be perfect, but as long as you realize that you're on this journey and you're learning, it just makes you hold yourself to that higher standard. So that's been the most important thing with social media for me. Like the amount of growth I've seen in myself the past 4 years has been insane. So
I want you to just quickly wrap this up by saying two things to everybody who's watching. One, to the investors, aspiring investors. A lot of people who've been asking me, and I tell my journey, but I may not be the most expert in Windsor market. So can you tell a little bit about what aspiring investors should do? And then, of course, aspiring real estate agents who are looking to grow their business. I think from what I recently heard, Toronto has 80,000 real estate agents. Toronto or all over Ontario, I'm not sure.
Yeah, it might be Ontario.
All over Canada.
All over Canada? Okay.
So
I'll change
the
it.
military of Canada itself.
Okay. Yes. I thought it was something like 1 in 10 people here are real estate agents in Toronto, right?
Yeah.
I think so.
There was another fact that I read on Reddit. 70% of them fail.
Oh yeah,
that's true. That's in every business.
70, I believe it was 70% of realtors in Toronto haven't made a single sale in the past year.
Sure. I'm sure. Yes. Correct.
Yeah.
So why don't you tell like everybody like what they should be doing as an investor, and then if somebody is a real estate agent, what they should be doing to grow their business and their clientele?
For sure. Yeah, if you're an investor, first off, find the right team, find a realtor that's actually investing themselves in the market that you want to buy in, because they're going to have all the contacts for their own properties for you. So I would say that's the most important thing, the team and the people. And just a second note, always be learning, and then find other people that are doing what you want to do, and don't listen to people that are not doing what you want to do or are not where you want to be in life, because I've had so many naysayers when I was on this journey, and now they ask me like how I've done it. So that's for the real estate investors. For the realtors, you have to find a way to differentiate yourself from the rest of the market. Take this job seriously, like work at it 40 hours a week, just like you would a full-time job. I swear, if you work at this like a full-time job, you will be successful, because literally 99% of realtors will not work like over 25 hours a week.
Oh yeah.
So yeah, treat it like a full-time job, and then obviously use social media and your network. Like this is a people business. You have to know people. You have to get in front of people. So however way you do that, I think social media is the best way, and it's worked for me. But you know, if you want to do mailers, if you want to go to networking events, if you want to start your own networking events like I have, that's all good stuff. But social media, the way to go. And when you get big enough, obviously outsource and stop controlling everything like I did the first few years, and get some VAs to help you out, so you could do like the most important parts of your business.
Yeah, I agree. Don't try to do everything yourself. Like I think that's how most businesses, not only realtors, but most businesses fail, because the owners try to do everything themselves.
Yes.
You need to delegate.
Yeah.
If to an employee locally, or to your sister, your son, or to a VA or somebody overseas, but please delegate. Don't try to do everything yourself. You're not best at everything.
Yes. Yeah.
So, but your time should be more spent in networking, learning, and creating content.
Yes. Yeah.
Creating content is very important now. You cannot stay in the market in any business without creating real content. There is no way out of it now. You cannot do business without creating content.
Yeah.
So thanks so much, Melina. You came all the way, and I'm really glad we are doing these deals together. I plan to do many more with you, as we discussed, one every year, hopefully. So that's the plan. And I look forward to working with you in future.
Awesome. Yeah. Hell yeah. Let's do it.